Hello and welcome to the Week 1 video review for Understanding Language, Learning and Teaching. I'm Jo Dixon from the University of Southampton, and together with Joshua Underwood from the British Council, I'll be joining in the discussions on this online course over the next few weeks. The purpose of this video review is just to quickly recap on some of the discussions that we've had this week before we move on to week 2 very soon. It's been a very busy first week, which is great. Although, we're in the middle of the COVID-19 lockdown at the moment, and that is frustrating and awful in many ways. But some of you have indicated that this means that you have more time at home than usual, and it's really lovely to see that you've chosen to spend some of that time with us and to engage in some online learning. You have been very busy commenting. Over half of the steps in week 1 each have more than 200 comments on them. That's fantastic, but it does mean that nobody's going to be able to read them all, I'm afraid. So I am going to mention a few of the discussions that I've seen this week in this video. Please don't be offended if I haven't mentioned yours, or if you feel that you've been overlooked. Josh and I will try to respond to some of the comments, but we can't keep up with it all. So I'd encourage you, every time you log in, every time you work through some of the materials in the course, to have a look at some of the comments as well. Try to choose one or two to reply to. Perhaps something that you disagree with. Ask someone to justify their view, to tell you a bit more. Challenge people to really think about what they're saying, or present your view if it's different from what someone else has said. Draw on your own personal experiences and all the expertise that there is amongst the participants in this course. So what have we been discussing this week? Well, lots of things, but I'm going to highlight 3 topics which perhaps are the topics that cause the most confusion or controversy, which I think is a good thing, because that means they also generate some of the most interesting discussions. The first one is on step 1.8. That's about implied meaning. And you've given us lots of lovely examples of implied meaning. One caught my eye about the very British phrase, that's not my cup of tea, or is that your cup of tea, posted by Nurila. Because what happened was Nurila's presented an example of possible implied meaning, and other people have then said, oh, wait a minute, is that implied meaning or is that something else? And a lovely discussion has ensued about whether it is or isn't. So have a look at that and see if you have anything to add. Use your own experience, use the internet. You have heaps of resources out there to try to find similar examples or explanations, and let us know what you think if you've got anything new to add to that discussion. You'll find that discussion, by the way, pinned to the top of the list of comments on step 1.8. So as Josh and I go through, we will try to pin 1 or 2 interesting comments to the top of the list so that they don't get lost amongst the hundreds of comments. If we feel that they deserve an answer, or if we see that an interesting discussion is emerging, and would like to encourage you to join in. Okay, and then the second topic that I wanted to pick up on is the bottleneck in step 1.9. That's an interesting one. A lot of people immediately say, yes, I can relate to that, that really makes sense. Other people, like Gillian, say, nope, that analogy doesn't work for me at all. And then others are cautiously accepting or a little bit unsure. Katharina is not sure. Wisdom wasn't sure at first and said that they could only relate to it after watching a longer video about it. And Jessie Jessie has asked a question about the bottleneck. So if this is a thing, what do we do about it? How can we help overcome it? So worth having a look there, and perhaps adding to a discussion about whether it is whether it makes sense or not. If you're one of the people who've written a short comment to say, yes, I totally relate to this, how about looking at one or two of those comments from people who are less sure, and tell them, give them examples from your experience of why you feel that actually it does make sense. Okay, and the third topic that I'd like to mention in this review video is on step 1.13 about the various factors that impact on language learning, and amongst them we bring up the idea of learning styles, and this one is another one that always gets people, it always divides people. We've got Terence disagreeing with the notion completely. We've got Adrienne a little more accepting, but doesn't like to see the notion of learning styles used as a very rigid construct to put learners into boxes. And then we have others who say, yeah, this makes sense. So perhaps it's a matter of how we interpret the idea and how we apply it in our practice. Again, if you've not commented on that yet, and if you have a view on learning styles, have a look at the pinned comments, or have a look at some of the most recent comments when you get there, and perhaps challenge someone whose view you disagree with to tell you why they think as they do, or add, tell them why you disagree from your experience. And your reading, perhaps. There's a lot of research has been done on learning styles. If you have a look on Google Scholar, you'll find things that support some of the views that have been expressed by participants this week. That's all I'm going to say on that. So all that's left for me to say now is that I'm very much looking forward to continuing our discussions in week 2, when we turn our attention to classroom learning and teaching, which feels a bit strange at the moment because most of us are not in our classrooms. But there we go, hopefully we will be again soon. So I very much look forward to week 2, and I will see you there. Keep up the good work.